Pizza is the most eaten food in the entire world. It is the world's most popular food. At least it was up until a few years ago, where that seemingly changed after people started to wake up to the fact that pizza might be a bit more nefarious than we thought. This is Dr. Matt. Thank you so much for being here. I want to preface this video as somebody was asking. We got a comment on the channel saying, what's the esoteric spiritualism behind pizza? Well, it's actually a lot more complicated than that. I'm realizing now I probably had more to even bring into this video, but than I've already prepared. But pizza actually has to deal with pi. Okay, it has to do with pi, has to deal with the rotation of a circle, spiral mechanics, things of that nature. Now, most people have kind of put together this whole idea that the pizza is very nefarious, right? Like this symbolism of Epstein and his cohorts talking about oh, we're going to get a pizza. Oh, we're going to get hot dogs. Oh, we're going to do this. And they're using code words when in reality, they actually mean kids or something else. Well, pizza specifically seemed to have been like cheese pizza is CP, which is also child pornography, obviously without the C, but replace that with a P. So cheese pizza, hey, you want to get a cheese pizza? That was in the Epstein files as an indicator for, let's go do something with a child or something along those lines. However, here's the reality. There's reasons why pizza is so popular. It's not just because cheese is very it's not just because cheese is on the same level as heroin in our brains, which by the way, that's true. Most cheeses actually give off that same kind of little dopamine kick, and that's why as humans we actually really like cheese. It's part of the reason why cheese is such a popular food in general, even though it's like technically kind of a mold, I guess you could say, is because we are breastfed, or at least we are supposed to have milk as children. So this is something that's ingrained into us from a very early age, right? So keep that in mind as well. Pizza is the white and the red, all right? It is a circular shape. The red and the white is a massive esoteric symbol already. You have the red king and the white queen, the sun and the moon, the blood and the bones, the bread and the wine of Christ. So the bread and the wine is the pizza, actually. So you have the bread and the wine is the sauce. It's the red sauce. Now the cheese in that equation is also white as well. So there's like, layers there. But so pizza, as you can see, is already esoteric in nature. The red sauce represents the blood, the white sauce represents the milk. And this is why this is another reason on a deeper layer why they use this. Now, this is really just a bastardization of esoteric symbolism, and this is what they do. They invert good things. Everybody likes pizza, right? I'll get off of this. Go to the Pizzagate conspiracy. Now, of course, as time goes on, this doesn't really seem like a conspiracy. I was there when I was all online when this was happening. I was on 4chan, I was on Reddit, watching it happen in real time, which was kind of crazy because, even today, the Wikipedia article doesn't cover everything. The James Alefantis, the naming signature there, et cetera, et cetera. And, for all I know, maybe this was just a big old conspiracy theory that just got wrapped up, unfortunately, with Epstein. I don't believe that, obviously, mainly just because of the guy who owns the place. I mean, James Alefantis is connected to those Rockefeller Rothschild families, and also John Podesta, who was a piece of garbage as well. So these are not the elites, of course. These people are not elite in any kind. They're using pizza as terminology. So now you guys already probably know the darkness of how deep this goes. The FBI has logos and symbols that represent things like boy lover or girl lover. Now, here's the thing that you have to understand and keep in mind why they're using these symbols. And you have to also look through the, what would I say? Look through this is like a forest through the trees kind of thing, okay? Which if you don't understand what that analogy means, it means go higher level. What are these symbols of? They're symbols of spirals. Okay, you see the heart, you see the butterfly symbolism, but it's different colored because these are indicative of spirals. The boy already is a spiral. That one's very obvious. It's a triangular or rounder triangular shaped spiral. And so is the heart. Okay, which is crazy because like when I see this heart thing, I grew up in the 90s, so I think of like the Powerpuff Girls. That's kind of like the thing that comes to my mind. So that's kind of sick already. So let's get out of the darkness and let's kind of shine into the light a little bit here. Really, pizza, P-I, it starts with the pi quotient because it is circular, right? And so pi is the shape of a circle. It's the circumference of a circle, rather. It has to deal with spiral dynamics. Now, pi, obviously the 3.14, blah, blah, blah. This has to deal with, as I just said, spiral mechanics. It has to deal with not just the circumference of a circle. It has to deal with a lot of properties, whether you get into like calculus or physics or anything like that, science, like the quantum sciences with the mathematics and such. Pi really is found in more advanced equations, not just like circumference of a circle, but how spiral mechanics operate. And the spiral is really the root here because you have one group of people right now that want to spiral upwards, and you have one group of people that want to spiral downwards. Obviously, the downward spiral is indicative of the demonic pedophiles that run our society, I guess. But here's the reality too, is that this is already esoteric symbolism that has to deal with ascension or descension. Now they're really big into descension. You have to understand like Sabbatian Frankist lore or even like Cliffothic lore from the Kabbalistic route. A large purpose of what these darker entities do is they lower consciousness. They lower a lot of those things. Now, one of the ways that they do this is through assault. Okay. And I could get into the mechanics. A lot of people have heard of what adrenochrome is, or, the aspect of young blood, I guess you could say, drinking it, consuming it, injecting it, what have you. These are not conspiracies anymore. These are all now being proven to be real, and a lot of us knew this for a very long time. However, there's a lot more than just, they just harm kids because they're trying to be youthful. It's because children are very much connected to source. They're connected to God. They're connected to spirit, more than adults are, right? And so what they are doing is they are essentially harming the lower nervous system of the body, because when they harm that lower nervous system, it causes the child to have a fixation on lower consciousness. Most of these people who are doing things to kids, a lot of them had stuff done to them as kids. You know what I mean? Like they either personally experienced or witnessed something that was traumatic to a child. And whether it's a woman, or I shouldn't say a woman's, whether it's a young girl's genitals or it's a boy's back end, okay, there are lots of nerves down in those areas of the body naturally. For children, they are not hyperactivated, and this is due to the thymus gland. Basically, the thymus gland in the child is like 3 or 4 times the size of an adult's. I've talked about this in length on our channel. And when a person abuses a child, then some of those hormones that are stored in the thymus gland get released. Now, the reason the thymus gland has those hormones is because of that those hormones are what's required for puberty. So as we age and we get older, we get out of puberty, the thymus gland shrinks, and that's because the hormones within the thymus gland assist us with becoming full-fledged adults, and we come out, it's during adolescence, right? Well, as you can tell, yes, there were a lot of adolescents that were targeted for this for sure, but there were also children, okay? And there's a scale here, you know what I mean? There were definitely some like 16, 17, 18-year-old girls who were lying about their age, sneaking off onto the island, and they were groomed for sure. That was all not excusable. But I would argue, based off of the emails and such, even these sick people put it in their own way, that, oh, well, it was consensual, which, we all know that that's not really true. 18 plus, right? Like those are the rules. But the thing is that with children, it's a lot less consensual. They don't really grasp what's happening, right? I mean, this is common knowledge. You would probably argue that if you were to take a 17-year-old girl who's like, oh my God, this rich guy Epstein, and oh my God, whatever, she's already gone through puberty. Again, not excusable, but we're talking about a difference here. One was like whether the girl was in her maturity mind or not. Some of these older girls did, I don't want to say consent because it's not the right word, but they approved it in their own mental dynamic. Not excusable, but there's a layer of psychology, this is my point, that occurs between somebody who believes they are choosing to consent versus somebody who has absolutely no idea what's going on. That's the children. So that's where the trauma gets stored, right? Like, in other words, what I'm saying is the children were probably far more traumatized and tortured and everything else and in more pain than the young preteen girls or whatever. And so there's a little bit of that, doesn't excuse it, but there's a little bit of a hierarchy here because that's what they're aiming for. They want to generate massive amounts of negative emotions, especially within children, because by the time a girl is 16, 17, 18 years old, her thymus gland is mostly shrunk compared to a child, where in order to get those hormones out, they have to put the child in fight or flight. They have to torture the child. They have to hurt the child. So again, what does this have to do with anything? In order to create more people which act as negative vessels or conduits of energy, they have to harm them and traumatize them. So this has to deal again with spiral dynamics, or specifically like psychological spiral dynamics, which essentially deal with I mean, this is another reason why some, ancient cultures or even modern cultures that are cults will do things to young men or even little boys with the prostate gland, because their belief is, oh, well, if we stimulate the prostate gland, then it can open the third eye. And there is technically some science to even showcase that. But it's not opening the third eye. It's forcing the nervous system into a hyper vigilant state, which is not good. That can cause a lot of damage, trauma, spiritual psychosis, and things of that nature. So there are reasons why they even do things to little boys and little girls. It's literally, as sick as this sounds, it's not just for their own pleasure. This is a religious thing, okay? This is a spiritual thing. They're like, if we harm more kids, then this is going to have a greater impact on furthering the, like, lowering the conscious of society. And it has to deal with, again, the spiral, because pizza is great and all, but and everybody loves pizza, the food. Pizza is very enjoyable. It's got all the right, aspects to it. You can get tons of different toppings. It's very customizable, etc. And that's the same kind of analogy they were using with the kids, right? The pizza is very customizable, right? Because they can get whatever kind of kid you want. So there's some layers there, but a lot of this has to do with, again, pi, spiral dynamics, rotation of a circle, and how these sick people operate in a world where they are bastardizing everything that is good and natural and esoteric into a sick, perverted game to justify harming kids and things like that. Now, we operate on spiral dynamics. We have a pineal gland. Pi, again, has to deal with spiral. It doesn't just have to deal with circles. Circles are wholly complete circle, like you have a whole pizza pie, right? A whole pizza pie would be a completed pizza. If I gave you a pizza and it had one slice removed, you wouldn't say that's a whole pizza. So wholly comes from circular, it comes from perfected, it comes from no angles, okay? And something that has no angles that wants to evolve does that in a spiral like formation. Okay, it has to be cyclical, it has to be spiral. That's what the pineal gland regulates, our circadian rhythms, our spiral rhythms. Okay, so what they're doing with all this is masquerading it and hiding it to a deeper extent. And of course, again, we also have piezoelectricity, which is the essentially it's how different matter can house an electric charge and also repeatedly house and circulate an electric charge to some degree. And that is, again, pineal gland. It has to do with the nervous system and things like this. Ultimately, what I'm getting at is the nomenclature, the naming of pizza, hot dogs, all that. It's literally just because of a lot of I mean actually there is a deeper reason why they called little girls pizza, and I can't even say it here. It's really sick. So just understand that there's a even more reason that has to deal with like other stuff, okay? Hot dogs is the same reason for little boys, okay? But beyond that, okay, pizza itself, pie, has to deal with, again, a deeper esoteric understanding of lowering the spiral, okay, versus heightening the spiral, which is what we try to do here at Psycosmos. So, yeah, it's a little complicated, a little multifaceted, a little gross, obviously. But at the same time, this is the world that we're kind of living in, I guess, but it's changing. So that's the one thing I want you guys to understand is everything's changing for the better. Pizza's great if as a food. Don't let this ruin your perception. Don't let any of this ruin your perception on how you're living your life. Okay, you can still go out and enjoy pizza. Although what's funny is pizza up until like I think 2021 was the world's most popular food everywhere, all countries, and it's slowly started to fall off. And I think a lot of this is because people see pizza now and they're like, ugh, like they're thinking about all that. Don't let people ruin stuff for you. You know what I mean? When you and I are talking about pizza, we're talking about the food. All right, we're not talking about kids. So it's really about like removing their influence from your psyche and your consciousness. Even though now everybody's just dialing in on it. Trust me, I've spent like 13 plus years of my life studying this stuff, following. Actually, it's been more like 16 years that since I've really started to learn a lot of this stuff, and I was deep online and stuff like that. Let me tell you, if you get sucked into that stuff, it will ruin you. So don't. Instead, try to remain positive, okay? And put a good foot forward when it comes to understanding these mechanics. Not everything is so nefarious, but if you see the symbols and you get a bad feeling, then maybe that's telling. Maybe this is going to keep coming out more and more and more, but they're going to change their code words, right? So they're not going to use pizza and hot dogs anymore. So anyway, that would ultimately be the answer to, is there an esoteric reason behind pizza? Yes, actually, because pizza again is an esoteric food. It's a circular food with white and red, and that's the entire makeup of the pie. Just taking a standard cheese pizza. It's the makeup of the pie. And that I think deep down is why everybody likes pizza. There's like a deeper psychological factor to it. So because everybody likes it, that's one of the reasons why they used it in their naming, right? Because when they name these things and they state these things and blah blah blah, people see pizza and it's just a word that before would glaze over somebody's mind and they wouldn't even think twice about it. Now people think twice about it. So, don't let it ruin you. Don't let it ruin your perception or whatever. Pizza's still great, right? Pizza can still be very yummy, and I don't mean that in a weird way. So, how can you learn more about symbolism and stuff like that? Come join our school. We got 66 people in here. We are a few courses away from completing our Psycosmos Online University in full with all 60 courses. We're at 56 courses right now. So we've got 4 left, one of which is pretty much done. And the other 3 are being currently worked on now. We also have Astraya, which is the psychology and astrology tool that can help you understand yourself on a deeper level. It gives you all the details and data that you need to know about yourself. It breaks your chart down. You can ask it questions, etc., etc. And it's just great. It gives you like little breakdowns daily and little motivations to keep yourself going. And then we also have Gaia. Gaia is a TV streaming service. I have a 7-day free trial. You can go click the link in my bio. And then also Astrosong. Use the promo code Psycosmos and you can get 10% off on getting a song that is based purely off of your natal chart. So they'll actually make a song for you with AI. It was pretty cool, I gotta say. I thought that this was really nice. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for being here. I love you guys, and I just want to say a quick shout out. Apologies to anybody that got triggered by yesterday's reptilians video. It seems like a lot of people that piss a lot of people off, and that's okay. I love each and every one of you. Don't let the haters, get to you or whatever in the comments. I really genuinely do feel like we are waking up as a society, and the people who are going to be in the right groups are going to gravitate to where they need to be, and the other people are going to go, and they're going to be watching for reptilian overlords, and that's totally cool. I don't judge people on it, even though I sound very judgmental and I make fun of a lot of this stuff. It's mainly my own like comedic showcasing of my personality. This is really how I see it, and I'm not really gonna apologize anymore for me being who I am. I think that probably a good 60-70% of what I see in the spiritual community today is regurgitated garbage. And I also feel like a lot of people make shit up. And I think people have been making shit up forever because humans lie. And we lie all the time. We are not honest. Okay. We lie to ourselves, we lie to our loved ones, and we lie to the world, especially the world, people we don't care about. So you're not going to get that here. I'm going to break it down to you real quick. If my videos are not going to be based on me lying about shit or pushing something. My videos are going to be based on what I believe. So I don't believe in reptilian overlords. I don't care about what shape the earth is. I don't care about aliens. That doesn't mean to say that none of that stuff's real or that you can't believe it and still also watch these videos. But if I make a video and you get triggered by it, that's on you. That's not on me. Maybe you need to start questioning your own belief system, because I'm very solidified in mine. I believe in Jesus. I preach the love and kindness of the Buddha. We're very multifaceted here, and all of those are way, way, way more important than this modern garbage that we are recycling constantly, talking about shit that is completely out of our control. You want to know what's more within our control? Let's protect these kids. I don't want to hear a goddamn single person talking about reptilians and aliens and flat Earth in the comments, arguing, saying how pissed off they are, until we can get these kids some safety. Let's focus on like what's actually real, folks. Let's stop living in fucking la la land, and let's actually protect our own and stop worrying about all this fanatical, mystical nonsense. And that's coming from me. Okay, so again, I teach you the practical. Our big thing here is inner alchemy, sacred secretion. That's the ticket. That's the ticket. That's the thing they don't want people to know. That's the thing that they're scared of, is cracking the codes of the anatomy and the inner Christ, the inner child. Um, so just keep that in mind, guys. It's an information war as much as it is a spiritual war, and that is why you're going to have the multiple directions. You're going to have these people who label themselves as Christians, and they think that they're star seeds and all this other stuff. And maybe they are. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, and that's all okay. But if they're star seeds, they better fucking start doing something. They better start activating their super cool Kundalini powers and start blasting these rich motherfuckers out of the buildings. That's what they need to do. But they're not going to do that because it's all bunk. You're not going to get magic powers from this. Nobody's going to teach you how to get magic powers. There's no Karmatage from Doctor Strange where you go to India and you learn how to shoot, magical bullets, and how to, Eye of Agamotto. There's none of that shit. Okay. That's completely unpractical. You're not going to get there. Sorry. Maybe you will. Don't listen to me then. Then stop listening to me and go figure it out for yourself. My whole point here is we are human beings. We are fallible. We are liars. And that still makes us beautiful because God loves us, and we can attain the highest, best version of ourselves by being active in our daily lives and doing the right things, forming the right habits, having the right thoughts. Okay. That's what Jesus and Buddha and everybody was talking about. They were not talking about flat earth alien nonsense. Okay. So again, I love you guys. If you don't like it, unsubscribe, but I still am going to love you. I'm still going to love you. I'm just going to love you from afar. I'm not going to listen to your garbage comments. I'm sorry. If people want to be in my comments arguing about shit, it's beyond me at this point. I don't care. If you want to come, you want to be kind, you want to educate, you want to ask me questions, totally fine. I do it every single day. I'm doing it right now. But I feel as though the tide is turning and the bullshit is getting exposed. People are losing faith in Bashar. Thank God. That guy's a crackpot. Not that he doesn't have good things to say. I've seen a lot of clips where he says great stuff. And that's the human element. I like Daryl Anka. I hate Bashar. That's the difference. You understand? Daryl Anka is the guy. He's the guy who's behind Bashar. Okay, there is no Bashar. There is no alien overlord. He's doing this because it makes him popular. I'm not willing to stoop to that level. I'm not willing to lie to you people in order to get views and clicks and crap like that. I've worked diligently for 7+ years. on this project so that we could help awaken humanity. Now the time has come. Now humanity is waking up. I couldn't be more happy. And I'm proud of you guys. Thank you for being here. I love you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.